Testing the mic. 1 2 1 2.
Kan man virkelig gøre alle glade? Både sommerhusejerne og feriegæsterne? Ja, det kan man, og det gør vi hver eneste dag hos Esmark. Vi elsker at skabe de perfekte rammer for vores feriegæster på Vestkysten. Du lejer nemlig ikke kun et sommerhus hos Esmark. Du lejer en oplevelse for livet. Se, hvad vi kan gøre for dig og din ferie på esmark.dk. Esmark, professionel sommerhusudlejning uden bøvl.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Vilsane on the west coast of Denmark for day 4 already of EUROSUP 22. The past 3 days were all about SUP surfing, and now we're moving on to the SUP racing with the first discipline, sprint racing. Joe, why don't you tell us about the race format and the conditions for the day?
Thank you, Matteo, and good morning, everybody. Yes, we're going to be starting off with the sprints as we have our course already set out here behind us. What it is a 200-meter sprint. We have 100 meters that we have 2 boys. All of the girls or the guys, they can decide if they go left or if they go right. Then it is a battle all the way through here. We're going to be starting off at the beach, so there's a slight run, and then that sprint to the end. Coming through the nice arc here, we will be able to see all of the faces, all of the action. It is going to be a battle out there, because let's not forget, the best of the European SUP races are down here in Videsande. I tell you what, let's get up to the booth, because I can't wait to see the action.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 4 of EUROSUP 22 Denmark. This is the European Stand-Up Paddle Championships 2022. We are already into day 4. The past 3 days were all about SUP surfing. We had some great action here on the beach of Vilsane on the west coast of Denmark. And yesterday, we celebrated our very first European champions for the year in SUP surfing. And now we're moving on to SUP racing. So welcome. We are going to be live all day long to watch the action. You can choose the Total SUP page on Facebook or the official website, supcitydenmark.dk, where you will find all the information you need to follow the program, the schedules, the updated scores of the different athletes and nations all week. We've got 5 more days to go with 3 SUP racing disciplines. And today it's all about sprinting. We've got that 200-meter sprint format into the ocean with a choice of not 1 but 2 buoys, so a lot of strategy and action coming up on your screens all day long. And we've got a stacked field. I'm telling you, the top European paddlers are here with us. We've got some European champions, not national champions, obviously, but also a few world champions. And we're going to start with the sprint women. So this morning will be about the qualifying rounds. So we're going to start with round 1 of the women, the open women. And already in the first heat, we have got some top names. The French champion, Mélanie Lafenêtre, the Spanish powerhouse Duna Gordillo, the Italian up-and-coming racer Laura Dal Pont. Don't rule out the German Hannah Krah, who's got a world title in the junior already. And this is the one athlete that I know least, Anne de Boer from Germany as well. So a heat of 5 athletes. The rules are that it's basically a simple single elimination format. So all these athletes only have one chance to qualify for the next round. So any mistake will be paid dearly by these athletes, and you've got, given the course formats, many occasions to do one. First a beat start, then a small wave to go through, then you have to pick the buoy that suits you most according to your own strategy, placement in the race, and your skills at turning front side or back side. It's up to the athletes to choose what they want and what they can really. And then there is that surfing phase. You can see those small lines coming to the beach of Vilsane. It would be a very, very fast race format. We reckon less than 2 minutes on the water for these 200-meter ocean sprints, and a lot of technicity, as I said. And then once you hit the beach, you're going to have to be very fast at unleashing yourself from the board and sprinting to the finish line. You see that big red arch with the logo of the Danish Surf and Sup Federation, the federation which actually changed its name to include stand-up paddling in its name a few months ago, back in June. And I'm telling you, this is a very hard-working federation. They are very, very serious about stand-up paddling. They help individual events. They've put together a Danish SUP tour, which is very popular and attracting people from all around Scandinavia and Germany. And they have been commissioned by the European Surf Federation to put together this new European Stand-Up Paddle Championships. If you're watching on YouTube, you can ask questions, you can make comments. Had already, before we started, a question from Christine Thomas watching from the US, asking, wow, this is looking great, but who is EUROSUP? Well, EUROSUP is the official name of the European Stand-Up Paddle Championships under the European Surf Federation. The last time we had a EUROSUP in this part of the world was in 2018 in Sardinia. Before that, it happened in Peniche, Portugal, and I was there to host the event. That was already 5 years ago. And the very, very first EUROSUP event happened in Lacanau, France. That was in 2016. So this is the 4th official EUROSUP. It's been a long time since the last competition, which happened on the Italian island of Sardinia. And the event has grown since 10 countries were lined up in Sardinia, and this week we have 16 European countries. And a big novelty, which is very, very important for the growth of this sport, it's the introduction of a junior division, not just in technical racing like we've seen before with the ISA Worlds in 2018 and 2019, but in every single discipline. We had the very first European SUP surf champion yesterday. Her name was Tiffaine Maillard, because we started with the junior girls from France, and Noah Stenner from Denmark won his golden crown yesterday. here, almost at home, because he's from Klitmøller, which is 2 hours north of here. Klitmøller, which is also known as Cold Hawaii, made popular by the 6-time world champion Kasper Stenfath, the Danish Viking who put stand-up paddle on the map here in Scandinavia, here in Denmark, a great ambassador for the sport, very involved in the Danish SUP and Surf Federation, but also within the International SUP Federation. And I can see the first women lining up from behind the arch. And this should be, I recognize with lycra number 127 in blue, Hannah Kra, right there on the left. In the middle, the Italian Laura Del Ponte. I believe Duna Gordillo is standing right next to that arch column on the right. And I believe behind that tent over there, that's the French champion Mélanie Lafenêtre. Mélanie, who's made a huge comeback in the past year. She's from the club La Cigale Surf Club in the south of France. I'm sure the club president must be watching. Hello to the whole team down there at La Cigale Surf Club. So we've got France, Spain, Italy, and 2 representatives of Germany in that first heat in round 1 of the Open Women. And you can see in red, Mr. Race Director Michael Lindberg, who's directing the whole event. First of all, the past 3 days were about SUP surfing, and now he's going to direct those 3 race events, because after the sprints today we will be going forward to the long distance, and we've got a special treat for you, a downwinder just behind us, just behind the dune. We've got a huge fjord, the Ringkøbing Fjord, and we should have a 15-kilometer downwind race tomorrow. But today it's about sprinting with Hannah Kra right here. No, here she is, Anna Kra. And here comes Mélanie Lafenêtre with 4-5 Pro board there. She's from the southeast of France, but moved recently to the southwest of France, where she studies, and she trains now with Mr. Olivier Dariomerlu, a fairly well-known figure in France. He's an ultra-long distance specialist, but today it's about 200 meters. And here comes heat number 1. Right, a long sprint. There's going to be a lot of running today. And Mélanie Lafenêtre is first to come up on her board, but she falls right away. On the right-hand side, on the NSP board, Duna Gordillo has got a fairly fast start, but in the middle, Hannah Kra is paddling hard. She chooses to go left, followed by Mélanie Lafenêtre, who seems to have an inside advantage. Maybe she's definitely pushing hard right now. Only 3 girls will move on to the next round. Duna Gordillo on the right-hand side, looking pretty good. Mélanie Lafenêtre taking that way, but look, it brings her to her left. And it's a sprint finish. Oh, in the back. I think that was Anne de Boer who took a fall. We've got actually the 3 favorites really in this heat. Duna Gordillo, Spanish champ, Mélanie Lafenêtre, and Hannah Kra on the starboard. 3 different countries. And three different board sponsors. Dunagordio first, Mélanie Lafenêtre, making an effort to perhaps take first place in that on that finish line. Mélanie Lafenêtre, Dunagordio, and Hanakra. We're waiting for the official times and ranking to tell you who's going through, but what a great start. No mistake, apart from that initial fall by Mélanie Lafenêtre, just 50 meters after she started sprinting. She didn't quite handle her board well there, but she did manage to get back in first position at that buoy because she knew she had to take the inside on that left turn, fighting with Hanakra for a spot in run number 2. Wow, what a great start of day number 4. Today we'll be sprinting all day, so don't go away. It's going to be a long day, but I'm telling you, it's not going to feel long because, as you can see, it's heat after heat after heat of frenzic sprint racing here in Vilsana on the west coast of Denmark, and already positioning themselves, the women of heat number 2 in this first round of sprinting. And we've got also some big names in there, and a friendly rivalry that we talked about with Caroline Kunsel a few days ago in an interview that you can rewatch on totalsup.com. Caroline Kunsel and Nicoline Rasmussen next to each other, the two very strong Danish champion. The experience plays in favor of Nicoline Rasmussen until now, but Caroline Kunsel has been paddling like crazy over the past few years. She started only 5 years ago. She fell in love with the sport, discovering it at the 2017 ISA Worlds in Copenhagen and then in Klitmøller. And since then, that passion and that love took her to actually move to the west coast of Denmark, to be close to the wave, where you've got a hub of sup racers and sup surfers, and some great Danish dynamics around Kasper Stenfath, and now Christian Andersen, and more. I believe Noah Strender lives there, Caroline Kunsel, and more. So that's where it's happening for the elites. And here is Caroline Kunsel. We also have Veronica da Silva from Portugal, Vera Lindmark from Sweden, Annalisa Risdale Smith from England, but let's call her Annie Smith, and Emily Evans from Wales. The ladies, the athletes are getting in position. Concentration on that Mistral board. Nicoline Rasmussen, it seems. Ooh, almost a false start there. And there we go. We know that Nicoline Rasmussen is a fast runner. She can handle a beach sprint, I'm telling you, pretty fast there. But it's Emily Evans who's very, very quick there on her feet, and Caroline Kunsel has got the advantage, it seems. After 80 meters, she's going for the right buoy. She was hesitating for a while, so we've got two equal girls right now. A SIC board here on the left, and Caroline Kunsel, she looking over her shoulder to see how well she's positioned. We also have Emily Evans. Wow, Emily Evans. She impresses me. She's from Wales, from the south of Wales. She's new into stand-up paddling. Look at Caroline Kunsel taking her leash off. That's very good race management for Caroline Kunsel, but the surprise from this woman, Emily Evans, she comes from a very, very strong rafting whitewater background. She's actually a world champion and a European champion in rafting. She started a few years ago stand-up paddling just as a crossover sport for rafting and for whitewater rafting, but also kayaking. And it looks like she made stand-up paddle her main sport, and it pays off. Look at what she did to the Danish girls. Caroline Kunsel in second. We're waiting for the official results, of course, but Emily Evans, yes, they are here. Emily Evans in first, second, Caroline Kunsel and Nicolene Rasmussen are through to the next round. So 2 Danish and 1 Welsh women athletes, and unfortunately for Veronica da Silva in fourth, Annie Smith in fifth, and Vera Lindmark in sixth. The sprint competition is over for today. Let's talk quickly about the English team and about Annie Smith, who's very much involved with GBSUP. GBSUP, a ruling institution for SUP racing in England, in the UK. And Annie Smith, who's been passionate about stand-up paddling for the past 10 years now, is very, very active, and she's one of her focus really is empowering the women and helping them to get on a board and go into racing, because that's what she loves. And she really wanted to come to Vilsana for this EUROSUP 22, and she did, and she's happy regardless of her result in this heat. All right, look at Amandine Chazot getting ready for the next hit. This is a hit of death, really, because we've got Amandine Chazot, Esperanza Barreras, and Caterina Stenta. The 2-time world champion Esperanza Barreras from the 2019 ISA Worlds from Spain. She's probably the strongest woman in the world right now, with April Zilg. That's my take at this stage of the year. Anyway, April Zilg, who also won some races this weekend in Oklahoma City. Here they are. Amandine Chazot, we're looking at her. She's from France, from Brittany. And this looks like almost like a final. Oh, Caterina Stenta. Stenta has got a slow start. That's very unlikely of her. We also have Elin Aulin from Sweden, Alex Tyrer from England, and the Swiss Anna Tchirki. She's also very, very fast, but Esperanza Barreras took the best start. She's being followed by Amandine Chazot. They both go right. A clean, nice turn for Esperanza on the starboard, and Amandine Chazot follows on the Sonova. On the other side, Anna Tchirki paddling hard for a third place. So Caterina Stenta is going to make her. She's got to do something now, and maybe that wave coming up. is going to help her because only the top 3 are through right now. And the advantage is for Anna Tschirki from Switzerland. Esperanza Barreras takes her leash off. So Anna Tschirki, wow, watch out for this young Swiss girl. It's a one-woman nation. Here comes Amandine Chazot. She looks like she's in 3rd place behind Esperanza Barreras. That's seems to be our top 3 qualified athletes for the next round. Very, very unlucky for Katerina Stenta. I don't know what happened to her because she's known to be a very, very fast racer. One of her specialties is definitely sprinting. We're going to see more of her for sure because she does have the endurance. She's also a trail runner. And she must be very disappointed right now. Coming up, I believe this is Elin Aulin from Sweden, who only started paddling 3 years ago. That's what she was telling me. On the beach yesterday, when she was training in very similar conditions, we had the waves cool down yesterday in the evening after a great subsurf final in 4 different categories. We had our first European champions yesterday in subsurfing, and you can watch the replay of all of that on the Total Sup Facebook page or on the official website of the event, supcitydenmark.dk. Wow. Well, this tells you quite a lot about the current state of form of all these athletes. We're already through with the open women, so that was 3 heats, and then moving on to round number 2. And coming up next, we've got the first round of the men's. That's 6 heats. 6 heats. And here they are lined up already. This is Donato France, the very young but powerful Dutch champion. He just won 3 Dutch titles for the very, very first time in Holland, establishing himself as the commanding SUP racer of the entire country. And is only 17. We had a great interview of Donato, but he's not the only one in this heat. We also have the Spanish champ, Rafael Sirvent, the Italian gladiatore, Tommaso Pampinella, and the Austrian 17-time champion of Austria, Christian Taucher. So it's a 4-man heat. Only 2 of these gentlemen are going through to the next round. The start sequence is actually a 1-minute call. 30 seconds, 15 seconds. They're set to go. Watch out for Rafael Sirvent. Is probably one of the fastest in this hit, but he's got actually the slowest start. It looks like Tommaso Pampinella on that JP Australia board, painted in blue for the very first time in the JP history. They're used to the orange. Had a great start, Il Gladiatore. That's the nickname I found for Tommaso Pampinella. He's a huge guy, very athletic, very muscular. But look at what Rafael Sirvent has done to that buoy. Very, very fast start. Pretty bit wider than what Tommaso Pampinella is doing. But a comeback for Donato France. Christian Taucher is in the back. It's only 2 going through. Donato France has rehearsed this for the past 3 days. Oh my God, Tommaso Pampinella is taking a fall. Donato France sprinting like there's no tomorrow to the finish line, making a huge statement, and the youngsters have it because Donato France and Rafael Sirvent from Spain are through to round 2, leaving Tommaso Pampinella, who had an amazing start, who's lamentating just past the arch and the finish line because that was a very unlucky fall. He didn't handle that sprinting and fell, letting Rafael Sirvent go past him for that second spot and that safe qualifier for round number 2. What an emotional first heat for the men's on day 4 of EUROSUP. And I told you it was non-stop sprinting. Look who's coming already. Hit number 2, the Danish polar bear, Christian Andersen. Polar bear being his official nickname due to the color of his hair. This is Casper Steinfath, little protege. Well, not so little anymore because Christian Andersen has turned into a real powerhouse here in Denmark. And currently, the leading SUP racer. It has to be noted that Casper Stenfath is taking a little break from SUP racing. He had a very, very busy year. As you've probably followed, he's been paddling around Denmark for the very first time in 54 days. But look at Christian Andersen getting ready along Thomas Lacerda from Portugal. Blue Ewer with that, I believe, NSP board, and Thomas, the tall blonde Norwegian, Thomas Nielsen, Norwegian / Californian, because I first met this guy when he was paddling with the Paddle Academy in California, where he used to live. He now lives in Norway. And no, it's Thomas Lacerda on the NSP. And Blue Ewer on your left-hand side. That's a very good management of the waves for Christian Andersen, who's sprinting to the left buoy. He's not only got the advantage, but also the inside very, very slick turn for Christian Andersen. We saw him on day 1 of the SUP surfing. He had registered for the SUP surf competition, but just for fun, although his style was very, very good. He's currently leading this heat number 2, very much in command right now. He knows the local conditions. He knows when to jump and start running. And oh, he's got 50 meters. How can you have a 50-meter lead in a 200-meter race? Christian Andersen is making a huge statement. You have to watch out for this guy today. In the sprints, a shy smile for a shy athlete. Nonetheless, very powerful. And Rafael Sirvent, not Rafael Sirvent, I believe, let me wait for the official results. Thomas Lacerda from Portugal crosses the line in second. Unfortunately for Blue Ewer, a very, very strong champion, the leading SUP racer in England. It's over for today. He's going to have the long distance and the technical racing to make up for that unfortunate turn of events in hit number 2. And Thomas Nielsen, who I haven't seen SUP race in a long time. I remember seeing race in Dana Point in Southern California with Mike Iser from the Paddle Academy. We're saying hi to Mike over there in California. And hit number 3 is getting ready. It's 30 seconds called now to the start line. We've got Clément Colmas, very strong French athlete from New Caledonia. Linus Carlson, That's the Kona team from Sweden. Maui Sarr from Germany. And from Morocco, Amin Bouizgaren, who lives in Copenhagen, actually. The athletes are ready. That's Maui Sarr with the NSP. Wow, great beach run there by Amin, who's in first position, but he goes on his board way too early, and he takes a hurting fall, unfortunately, almost ruining his chances of catching up with the likes of Clément Colmas, one of the top racers in the world. Clément Colmas is in a league of his own over there on the right-hand side. Is leading the race. He reaches it first. Very sexy turn there, very clean and narrow. He's already back on his way back to the beach. And on the left-hand side, the battle is going on. Only one spot for these two guys. We've got Maui in the back, Sarr trying to overtake Linus Carlsen, who's using his board to try and block the German. But the German, a little bit slower than Linus Carlsen to go down. But Linus Carlsen falls, and it's going to be Maui. Yes, Clément Colmas from France is through to run number 2. A fairly easy hit for the Frenchman, who's used to training and sup racing with his mates, Noé Goriou and Titouan Pouillot. And the second spot is for the German Maui Sarr, who did manage to come back on the Swede Linus Carlsen. And Linus Carlsen, unfortunate enough to fall in the last 50 meters before the arch. And speaking of the devil, Titouan Pouillot, here he is in the center of your screen. This is probably the easiest heat with Titouan Pouillot, 2-time world champion, 3-time if you count his title with Team France in 2019 in El Salvador, and 4 times if you count his long distance title under a different federation. Last year in Hungary, Titouan Pouillot definitely the favorite in this race, but watch out for young gun Lucas Boyum from Sweden, who told me yesterday is actually competing in both the men's and the junior. The tall blonde guy in red, that's Kimo Kirsting from Germany. And from Morocco, we've got Hisham Laimina. Great start by Kimo from the German, but Titouan Pouillot quickly takes the command of this heat with Kimo suffering a fall right there on that little short break. Here comes Titouan. Very fast turn for the New Caledonian. This champion, this French champion, already has 3 individual European titles under his belt. 1 obtained in 2017 in Peniche, Portugal, and 2 others in the very first EUROSUP competition in 2016 in Lacanau. He couldn't do the 2018 one in Sardinia. An easy run for Titouan Pouillot right now. So let's watch out who comes in second. We've got Kimo Kirsting in second. This is unofficial result. We're obviously going to make sure we give you the official one. But yes, lycra number 23, looks like it's Kimo. And unfortunately for Lucas Boyum, who was wearing the green lycra. It's over for today. Anyway, for the open men's category. And we are taking a little commercial break. And welcome back to Vilsane on the west coast of Denmark for day 4 of EUROSUP 22. The sprint competition is now well underway since we are in the middle of round 1 of the open men's. This is heat number 5 getting ready. We've got Christian Pilborg from Denmark. We've got Paulo Freitas from Portugal, Ben Moham from England, and Andreas Portenschlager from Austria. That's a fairly open heat as far as I'm concerned. Since I don't know these athletes really well, I know Ben Moham for having seen him race in many European races and usually in the top 15. He lives in the Canaries and trains with the Oscar Ruiz team. So he's very close to the Spanish athletes. And he's got the best start so far. Here comes Christian Pilborg on the left-hand side. So 3 starboards in the lead, 1 NSP in the back. And Ben Moham going on that left buoy, reaching that left buoy. Who's on the right? That is Andreas Portenschlager, maybe. Let's find out. As we've got Ben Moham surfing. It's a bit of a party wave for these two. And look at what Andreas Portenschlager is doing. Oh no, another fall. Another fall. This is the 3rd or 4th one already in the sprint competition. Despite that fall, I think Andreas Portenschlager is pretty safe there. A nice little jog for these two athletes, and Ben Moham is not really fussed about crossing the line in first position. Andreas, who told me yesterday, you know, he sup race for racing, for fun, he sup race for fun, and doesn't really expect to go very, very far in this competition. But look at him, he's taking the first place in this hit number 5. Well done. He's always with Christian Taher, who's been eliminated in hit number 1. And we call them, Joe Siastella and myself, we call them the Austrian dynamic duo. 2 fun guys to speak with. And the official results are now coming through. So yes, indeed, Andreas Portenschlager from Austria, and in second place, Ben Moham, are through to the next round number 2. Wow, we are already reaching the 6th and last heat in this first round of the open men's sprint competition. Following the men's, we will have the junior girls, and this will not be run number 1. Well, it will be kind of, but technically it's also already the semi-finals, because we've got only 2 heats of the junior girls, and we will have the finals this afternoon. So in hit number 6, and look at this beautiful drone view of Vilsane. Let me remind you that Vilsane means white sands. I guess you can guess why with those beautiful shots. White sand it is indeed here on the west coast of Denmark, 2 hours south of cold Hawaii. A tranquil and a quiet and lovely fishing town, but also a water sport hub for all kinds of sports. Here they are, Aaron Sanchez. Watch out for that young man, the cousin of Laura Kedglas, who trains in Mallorca. Claudio Nica, the current world champion in sprint racing. Dan Maley from the Netherlands, and Kaylin Lockhart, the Australian/Belgian, who's got a great start there. Lycra number 16, 3 men going for the left buoy, and 1 change of direction for Dan Mealy from the Netherlands on the blue SIC board. He's the last one to turn, and we've got a sprint between 3 athletes, and 1, and that is smart enough to take off, is Lee Shirley, and that's Kaylin Lockhart. Look at him going in second place on that double wave, while Claudio Nica, of course, is nicely jogging to the finish line. It's going to be Claudio Nica and Kaylin Lockhart, and Aaron Sanchez, you saw that, took a big fall in that last surf section, and I'm not even sure he's making it to the 4th position, given the huge sprint comeback of Dan Mealy. We're going to have the official results of that last heat of the open men's very, very shortly. Here it comes. I'm connected directly to the judges. A very fast start. 1 minute. We haven't talked about times yet. We're going to take some time to analyze all that in the next commercial break, because there's so much going on. But basically 1 minute right now and I'm looking at everything else. Yes, the best time for Claudio Nica. He is the ruling world champion at the last ISA SUP Worlds in 2019. Claudio Nica in first position. Second, Kaylin Lockhart, the NSP Belgian/Australian powerhouse. We've got Dan Mealy in third. Yes, he did manage to get back in front of Aaron Sanchez, who was a bit of an upset for Aaron. Laura Kedglas' cousin, who's really, really strong. I think what impressed me most this year from Aaron is his top result in the World SUP Festival in Alicante, Santa Pola. That was back in June, at the beginning of June. But here comes the first semi-final already of the junior girls. We've seen on our screens Tiffaine Maillard, the new SUP Surf European champion. She was crowned yesterday after a commanding surfing in the big final. She handled the pressure really, really well. She's a newcomer in Team France, and apparently she can also SUP race. So this is the first time we're having a sprint competition in the junior girl category. We've got probably the favorite, Cecilia Pampinella. She chose to only do the junior girls today. She's definitely the favorite. Look at her going on her Mistral board. Next to her is Leonor Jardim from Portugal. And we also have one girl that we like a lot, Annabelle Page. Here she is in the middle, but watch Cecilia Pampinella taking very, very easily the command of that heat. Cecilia Pampinella, who is going to handle, I'm sure, this buoy turn fairly easily. No pressure for her since she's got already a 20-meter lead. She's probably going to end up with a 50-meter lead after so much power. Cecilia Pampinella, nice little surfing in that 40-centimeter wave for Cecilia. You know what? At this stage, I would just focus on saving a bit of energy because there's a big final coming already this afternoon for the Italian champion. Wow. Well, it's going to be very, very tough, I'm telling you, to beat that young Italian athlete. And here comes, in second position, if the cameras are not lying, Tiffaine Maillan qualifying for the final. This girl from La Réunion is full of surprises. Here comes Leonor Jardim from Portugal in fourth because Annabelle Page did manage to cross the line in third. So Annabelle Page did a lot of surfing over the past 3 days. Probably a bit tired. The young athlete from Newcastle. And official results are coming through in a few seconds. It is Cecilia Pampinella in a time of 1:15:43. And then Tiffaine Maillan, 1 minute 29:55 in second position. Both are through to the final. This was a semi-finals. And then Leonor Jardim and Annabelle Page, or rather the other way around, Annabelle Page in 3, Leonor Jardim in 4, are out of the competition. Here comes the second semi-final of the girls' competition. Katrin Bergman from Denmark. We've got, watch out for her, Elene Echeverria, the Basque from the north of Spain. We've got Ida Djurströ from Sweden. Fairly new to the competition, but she definitely had the technique and the moves yesterday. And one girl that I don't know at all, Josefina Karst from Germany. So we've got Denmark, Spain, Sweden and Germany in this second semi-final. The Astron board is held by Ida from Sweden. But if I have to call a winner in this one before it starts, I would go for Elene Echeverria. I heard a lot of great things about Katrin Bergman, though, from the new national Danish coach, Jesper Carlsen, whom I interviewed on TotalSup.com a few days ago. He was presenting this whole team. But look at what Elene Echeverria is doing. Lycra number 254. She's very much in the lead already after 50 meters, followed by, indeed, Katrin Bergman on the Kona board. This is a Swedish brand which has some momentum right now in Scandinavia and also Germany. Oh, Elene Echeverria! She made a big mistake there. Lost concentration, lost her balance. And look what is written on the side of her starboard board, Asulio. So I assume this used to belong to either Daniel or Bruno Asulio, since Bruno Asulio is a former starboard athlete. He's got his own brand now, Ex-Bionic, and while Daniel is still racing under starboard. And a change of position with Katrin Bergman finishing very, very strong. And a big sprint. She comes from track and road cycling, this girl. And she's got a happy face for sure, crossing the line in first. And Elena Echeverria is going to have to think in the next few hours before this afternoon's finals about what she's just done. Taking an early command and a very comfortable one in the first phase of that heat, and it all went crumbling from then on with that mistake at the buoy turn and a pretty slow surf back to the beach. The Spanish girl from the Basque country. And we're still waiting for the official results, unfortunately, for the Swede Ida Djurströ. The competition is over. She's officially in fourth. Josefina Karst from Germany in third. And yes, indeed, it's Elena Echeverria from Spain. And Catherine Bergman, who looked really good on that last beach run section, as well as on her comeback from that buoy, who are through to the big final. And we are moving on to the boys, the junior boys. Going to have more hits for that new division. And we've just seen Mr. Simon, and not Simon, but Simon. Simon Ackermann. It's actually a three-man heat, because we've got 3 heats lined up for this last round of opening heats. So round number 1 will be over after these upcoming 3 heats. Simon Ackermann from France. We've got Lucas Boyum once again. He raced in the Open Men's a few minutes ago. On the right hand side of your screen, right there, on right now on the left, and in the middle we've got Cedric Fallbusch with Lycra number 211 from Germany on the Sonova NSP, Sonova and Nash. And that great sprint by Simon Ackermann, who's a regular in French SUP racing. He always shows up at competitions with his dad, Mathieu Ackermann, who's probably watching right now from Normandy, where they both live. And one is going left, one is going right, and one is going in the middle, trying to decide what to do. And that's Cedric in the back. But what a great turn here by Simon Ackermann, who's sprinting back to the finish line. And this little wave should help, putting him in front of that heat. He's got just a comfortable maneuver to manage. And look at him going. Watch out for that little hole in the sand. It's been treacherous for a few athletes already. Here comes Simon Ackermann. Watch out for that junior boy who's very, very hungry for titles. I am telling you, stand-up paddle racing is his life. And Lucas Boyum is also making it through. Only 2 qualified for the next round in this 3-man heat. And heat number 2 of this junior boys sprint competition is coming up. 3 very fast junior guys. Lucas Simoncelli from Spain, trains also in Mallorca. Giorgio Dalpont, this is Laura's younger brother, from Italy in the middle. And on the NSP on the left, this is Benyam Bossack, younger than the other two, according to what Giorgio was telling me, but is not handling that beach break really well, however small those waves are. And Giorgio Dalpont is taking the lead, going for that buoy on the left. Fairly easy turn in pretty flat conditions. And I believe it's an ex-Bionic board there on the right. This is Bruno Osulio's sub-brand project. Ooh, watch out for Benyam Bossack. He might be coming back here with the help of that little wave, while Giorgio Dalpont is taking the leash off. But those tall and strong legs are going to take the Italian youngster to the finish line. Watch out for a last sprint from from Lucas Simoncelli, who on the ex-Bionic, of course, the son of Manuel Simoncelli, the coach of the one of the coaches, seleccionador of the Spanish team. And unfortunately for Benyam Bossack from the Team Netherlands, it's over already, and we're going to have our last heat of round number 1 coming up next.
We need a couple of minutes. We are going to move one of the buoys that got out of position.
Tal løs og nyd sommeren med Oyster. Du får fri tale og 30 GB data for kun 89 kroner per måned. Oyster, det er bedst til prisen.
Kan man virkelig gøre alle glade? Både sommerhusejerne og feriegæsterne? Ja, det kan man, og det gør vi hver eneste dag hos Esmark. Vi elsker at skabe de perfekte rammer for vores feriegæster på Vestkysten. Du lejer nemlig ikke kun et sommerhus hos Esmark. Du lejer en oplevelse for livet. Se, hvad vi kan gøre for dig og din ferie på esmark.dk. Esmark professionel sommerhusudlejning uden bøvl.
And welcome back to the Sprints Day here in Vilsane, Denmark. This is day 4 of EUROSUP 22. It's been 4 years since 3 years, 4 years since the last European Stand-Up Paddle Championship in Sardinia in 2018. And this is the 4th European Stand-Up Paddle Championships after Lacano in 2016, after Peniche in Portugal in 2017, after Sardinia in 2018. And the European athletes and the top European athletes were very, very keen to gather once again. And Vilsane offers the perfect location for that, especially with that beautiful setting. Look at that white sand. And the sun is with us. Fingers crossed it stays like this all week. We had the waves just when we needed them in the first opening days of the 1 week competition. And today we're moving on to racing with the sprints. We're already into round number 2. And we're going to have a second round only for the open women and for the open men. We'll have a little break after that, and we will resume a live stream this afternoon. I will let you know the exact time for that. And we will start with the semi-finals. 3 semi-finals, because we've already had the semi-finals of the junior girls. So 3 semi-finals for the junior boys this afternoon, and the women and the men. And then we will have 4 different finals for 4 different categories: the junior girls, the junior boys, the open women, and the open men. And we've already seen some pretty strong racing. I'm looking at the times right now because we're lucky enough to have that information in real time here in the booth. And I can tell you, I should do a little quiz on that on Facebook really, and ask who do you think has got the best time in the open women. And it is the Danish champ Caroline Kunsel. I'm half surprised by that because I know that she is definitely a top paddler, not just in Denmark but also internationally. She started in 2017, and believe it or not, 7 months only after starting, she was already collecting a bronze medal in Wanning, China, at the ISA World Championships, that just then had opened a new junior category. Until then, the juniors were not part of the ISA SUP Worlds. They were introduced with technical racing in 2018, that was renewed in 2019, and for the first time in EUROSUP history, we are having juniors, boys and girls, crowned here in Vilsande, European champions. We had our very first SUP surf champions yesterday in the junior, and that was Tiffen Maillard from France and Noah Stenner from Denmark. A little word on France. They are the defending champion, but not as a team, as a nation. They were first in 2018. They are also the ruling nation in the ISA Worlds 2019 in El Salvador. But on top of just being a European champion in 2018, that was their third consecutive win. So in 3 years of EUROSUP, they collected gold every single time France did. And so far, after the first official competition, the SUP surf, they are already in the lead. But watch out for other strong teams, and Denmark is definitely one to watch out for. They were second in 2018, and they've got a strong team. They will be missing in the racing the talent of Kasper Stenfath, who is actually taking a different role in this team this year, and that might be a little break from the competition for the Danish Viking. Let's just hope he doesn't stay too long from his paddle, because we love him and we love to see him racing, what he can do to a board, especially in conditions like this. He told me this morning that he does enjoy being a tactical coach for Team Denmark, but I'm sure that inside he wants to be out there, because I'm sure he knows he can do really, really well scoring points for Team Denmark. Kasper Stenfath, 6-time world champion, has had a busy year. He did paddle around Denmark in a 54-day non-stop adventure. What a crazy feat. Basically, he left home with his board, went to the beach in Klitmøller, left on the right, sorry, went north, then went south, then went back and came back from the left 54 days later. That's just an amazing adventure that he documented throughout his journey on Instagram, and I believe there is a documentary coming up, a video documentary coming up around his adventures around Denmark. A great ambassador for the sport, a great ambassador also for his country. He was key in bringing the ISA World Championships here in Denmark in 2017. It was a two-location event. It started in Copenhagen with the sprints and the long distance, and the entire event moved north 5 hours away from Copenhagen to Klitmøller, also known as Cold Hawaii, where the waves were waiting for the SUP surfers. It was a great event, and according to Michael Lindberg, who is the sports manager of the Danish Federation, it was to date the biggest ISA SUP Worlds in terms of attendance, in terms of participating countries. Now you're probably wondering why we're having a little break. Well, there is a break, first of all, between round 1 and round 2, but also those buoys needed repositioning. So we are waiting for the open women to be called to the waiting chamber. As part of the process, I also have to point out that there is a measuring process for the boards. The judges have to make sure that the boards are within the 14-foot size. So they have a special box that the athletes just have to put their boards in just to make sure that it's within the authorized size. I can see on the beach Team Italia with the national coach there, and Caterina Stenta, who's unfortunately out of the competition. That was one of the very early upsets this morning. Caterina Stenta, who had to battle against Amandine Chazot, Esperanza Barreras, and Anna Tschirki from Switzerland, who showed up as a one-woman nation here in EUROSUP 22. We've got a few of those, actually, a few teams which are a one-man band or one-woman band. We've got Switzerland, we've got Norway, we've got Ukraine, and a couple more.
Team France, Team Denmark, and Team Italy, please. Can you come here? Team Denmark, Team Italy, and Team France.
Okay, competition is a little bit paused right now because we are between two rounds. If don't go away, because it's going to resume soon. We had to make a couple of arrangements with the buoys. So if you are wondering what you're just joining right now, I can see new people joining us on the Facebook stream and also on the YouTube stream that we are embedding on a few websites. And the most important of them is supcitydenmark.dk. And that is the official event website of the European Stand-Up Paddle Championships 2022. That's where we are right now. And this is day 4. 3 days of SUP surfing crowned yesterday the first European champions of the year of this event. And congratulations to Tiffaine Maillard, the first ever junior European champion in history, since the junior division was introduced only this year. And Noah Stender from Denmark did exactly the same thing in the boys in the subsurf. After a big battle, going back and forth at the top of the scoring board with Titouan Pajot, whom we are going to see again, this young Frenchman, in the SUP racing competition. Fairly new to the world of stand-up paddling, but handled that SUP surf competition so well, winning heat after heat until he fell to the talent of Noah Stender yesterday in the final. And then we had Camille Dubrana from France again, who won the Open Women's SUP surf competition. She had conditions that she's very familiar with. Camille training in Brittany with her friend Benoit Carpentier, but Benoit Carpentier didn't have the same luck in the Open Men's, since he won the silver medal. He is the 2019 ISA World Champion. I keep mentioning the 2019 World Championships. That is because this is our last World Championships under the International Surfing Association. Guillermo Carracedo from Galicia in the northwest of Spain took the crown yesterday. So these are our 4 first European champions of EUROSUP 22. So if you are watching on Facebook, on the Total SUP page, make sure, if you want to, that you send your questions and your comments, because we are watching at them right now, and we can be pretty reactive to whatever question you might have. I'll be very happy to answer them. I can hear right now the judges making a call on the speakers on the beach, so we're certainly going to have some action coming up. We are going to go through round 2 this morning, so a few more hits coming up before we take a little break. And then we will move on to the sprint finals. I can see people watching from Austria, from France, from Hawaii. Hello, Mike. From Spain, of course. And stay tuned for more. Well, here comes some news. In 3 minutes, we'll be resuming the sprints competition. It's all about sprinting today,
Just to make sure
with that
everybody
200-meter race format,
on the beginning,
100-meter
you need to begin
back
between the
out
flags,
to the ocean.
but on the way in, you just have
2
to
buoys
cross
to choose
the
from.
arch.
Make your
So the
pick
flags are only
based on your talent,
start.
skills, and placement in your race all the way to those buoys. Make your turn, come back as quickly as possible. Make the most of those small lines to surf your way to the next round and cross the line in first or second. That's what you've got to do in order to qualify for the semi-finals. That's what Mélanie Lafenêtre, Caroline Kunsel or Amandine Chazot are going to have to do. This is definitely, most definitely, one of the toughest heats in this second round. But actually looking at all the names in the three upcoming women's heats, I am blown away by the level of paddling there is on the beach today. There's only one name, the underdog, Emily Evans, whom I didn't know until a few days ago. We interviewed her on Total Sup a while ago, and she was telling us about her partnership with Blackfish Paddles, a Canadian brand. But Emily Evans from Wales has got a strong competition background in whitewater kayaking and rafting, and she totally commanded her heat. And we've got three of the fastest girls in the previous heats, and the fastest girl for sure with Caroline Kunsel, who managed to cross the line in 1 minute 18 and 36. And we've got three brands on the line. We've got 45 Pro with Mélanie Lafenêtre, Amandine Chazot in the middle on the Sonova, and Caroline Kunsel on the left-hand side of your screen on that drone shot. And again, Mélanie Lafenêtre is struggling just like she did in her previous hit in those tiny waves. What's happening to Mélanie, the Seagull from Sainte-Maxime? Look at Amandine Chazot going now for first place. She's going right. Mélanie Lafenêtre is going to be taking advantage of being on her own on that left buoy. But Amandine Chazot looking very, very strong. Here's Mélanie Lafenêtre taking that turn, going left. And it's the two Frenchmen right now in the lead. Caroline Kunsel is going to have to make her effort right now, as Mélanie Lafenêtre seems to have a slight advantage as the three athletes are sprinting to the finish line. It's a very, very fast-paced first heat in round number 2. Look at what Caroline Kunsel is doing in the middle, using that little swell to take her even further up. Amandine Chazot was the first one to take off her leash. Look at Mélanie Lafenêtre. She falls in that last wave. Amandine Chazot is winning in commanding manner this first heat of round number 2, and Caroline Kunsel just can't keep smiling. She is through to the semis, and Mélanie Lafenêtre, we are very disappointed for Mélanie, of course. Mélanie, who struggled on her way to those buoys, and at the very same spot on the way back, she is eliminated of the competition. That's a first upset, but that's what you would expect with such talent on the beach, on the water today here in Vilsanda. And under the sun of the west coast of Denmark, Amandine Chazot looking very, very strong. No mistake for the girl from Brittany, and I'm sure the whole family is watching from Bretagne.
You were just on the side. I was just really wanted to be the first.
Wow. Amandine Chazot taking a commanding lead right now on her way to the semi-final, which should happen this afternoon. This is actually going a lot faster than I expected. So given how flexible everyone has been so far. We could have different schedules coming up. I will make sure, of course, that you are updated in real time with whatever decisions we're making with the run of the play today. And coming up, Emily Evans, that big smile from Wales. And a big surprise from that athlete who is fairly new to stand-up paddling, a very first SUP surfing competition that she handled pretty well in the past 3 days. But we also have Esperanza Barreras, who had the second best time in the previous heat. But watch out for Hannah Kra. She has a world title in junior sprint racing. Let's see if all that rafting and kayaking experience serves the newcomer, Emily Evans. She's definitely a runner. Look at her sprinting. Oh, that was maybe too early. No, she handles that really well. She's in the lead. Oh, she falls. She falls. But so does Ana, and so does Esperanza Barreras. This is a thrilling hit, I'm telling you. In the lead, we've got on the SIC board, Emily Evans. I'm sure those sponsors are going to be wondering who this girl from Wales is. She is in the lead in front of the two-time world champion Esperanza Barreras from Spain. Because they are in the lead, I believe that SIC board and that starboard board are going to take two different buoys. That's exactly what's happening. And first to turn is Emily Evans. Once again, the Welsh champion, the surprise of the day, in the lead very much so now with 30 meters of advance of leading command, and Anna Kra trying to catch that draft and now trying to overtake. Will she manage to do that? Is Emily Evans running a bit out of gas now? She's repositioning herself on her board, on that SIC board, trying to make the most of that small wave. No mistake. There is one definitely for Hannah Kra, who just lost her chance to qualify to the semi-finals, while Emily Evans, Lycra number 121. Remember that girl, she's just won against the leading world champion, Esperanza Barreras. Emily Evans is our champion of run number 2 so far. I don't know if you are clinging to the edge of your seat, but I am certainly doing that right now. Look at that face. Emily Evans, a name to remember, coming from Wales, another one-woman nation. She's happy. Well, I'm gonna have to dig a little to find out more about that Wales champion, who did manage to come on top in front of the two-time world champion Esperanza Barreras, who is having one of her best years so far, one of her best seasons so far, picking very wisely all her races and scoring really, really well. Emily Evans and Esperanza Barreras are through. Unfortunately for Hannah Kra from Germany, the competition is over. Interesting thing, this might be due to the repositioning of the buoys, but the times in these last two heats are definitely a lot slower than the previous heats by a good 20 seconds. And let's look at those times precisely. The first heat of round number 2 was the fastest with Amandine Chazot in 1 minute and 35 seconds. But here comes another tough heat, the last one of this second round. This is Anna Tschirski from Switzerland, Duna Gordillo in the middle on the NSP, Nicoline Rasmussen, the Danish champion, very experienced paddler and also a strong sprint finisher, but struggling a little here. No, that was Ana Chersky who made that fall, but Duna Gordillo, the Spanish young champion who finished second behind Esperanza Barderas in the World Surf Festival in Alicante. That was probably one of her most impressive races in the first half of 2022. She is first to take that buoy turn. She went to the right one and doing a backside turn. That's Nicolene Rasmussen. Anna Chersky is in a bit of a sticky situation right now, while at the front, Duna Gordillo is surfing her way to, ooh, watch out for that fall. Looks like that fin got caught in the white sands of Vilsane. In second, Nicolene Rasmussen, the sprinter. Watch out. Oh, there's a sprint going on between Anna Chersky. That second spot is going to be very much needed to qualify to the next round, the semi-finals, and it's Nicolene Rasmussen with a Mistral paddle who seems to be able to make it through to the next round, while Anna Chersky unfortunately didn't have the running power to go and cross the line before Nicolene. And how did I know that Nicolene was a fast runner? Well, it's all thanks to an interview I did with the new Danish national coach of the Surf and Sup Federation, Danish Federation, and that is Jesper Carlsen. You can read all about it on totalsup.com. He introduces the Danish faces, some old, some new. And indeed, she told me, watch out, don't go and sprint against her because she's going to win. And that's exactly what she did against Anna Chersky, who falls short of qualifying to the next round, which are the semifinals. Here come the men between the two red and white flags of the Surf and Sup Danish Federation. Round 2 coming up. Donato France with that blue board, so familiar now on the European circuit. He's won his first European races, but most of all, 3 straight titles in all disciplines in the Dutch National Championships. In the middle, we've got Maui Saar, a very experienced gentleman from Germany, but isn't Christian Andersen, aka Paul Albert, the favorite of this one on the Fanatic board there? So Light Board Corp versus NSP versus Fanatic. The Netherlands, Germany, or Denmark. The north of Europe is being represented in this first heat of round number 2 in the open men's. Donato France, only 17 years old. Sports life very filled already. Is a former rugby player. Used to live in Qatar and has moved back to the Netherlands a few years ago. That's also an interview with Donato France that you can read on totalsup.com. That was a few days ago, precisely in preparation of this EUROSUP 2022. Here comes Christian Andersen. He's got the best start. He slides really, really nicely, but look at the Dutch man, the tall Dutch man, 17-year-old Donato France, who preferred to sprint a lot further, and that takes him in the lead. Unfortunately for now, Maui Saar, the German/Spanish athlete, he lives in the Canary Islands, but he is German, is struggling a little against the power of 2 tall blonde guys. One is on a blue board, the other one on a red board. Light Board Corp versus Fanatic. The advantage for now is for Donato France, who is a bit on the outside here while surfing, but yes, he's the first to land on the beach. That's another big statement. A second one. He's not going to slow down. He's just telling everyone, I am the young kid to watch, and I'm not going to bother with the junior category. I'm going for the big thing. He crosses the line in first. He's happy, and I'm sure so is his dad, who accompanies him everywhere he goes. Christian Andersen in second. That's, I believe, a normal hierarchy being respected with these results, although I expected a bigger battle between Donato and Christian Andersen. Let's just remember that there are more races coming up, so it's also a clever thing for Christian to just cruise his way to the finishing line in second position, just making sure he gets the job done and saving a bit of energy for what's to come up. We're going to move on to what I have on my sheet is called heat number 8 of these of the boys competition. This is really heat number 2 of round number 2. We're having a little break, but coming up we've got Clément Colmas, Raphaël Sirvent and Thomas Lacerda. 3 countries and 3 champions, of course. Clément Colmas, one of the top SUP racers in France, not only in France, in the world. He's got some amazing results on the international SUP scene. The New Caledonian, but is also part of a very powerful group of 3 paddlers, 3 friends who stick together no matter what. And these are Titouan Pouillot, who's been leading the French team to victories for the past 9 years now, since he made a first appearance at a French competition with a wild card. That was the French Nationals. He showed up and he won it. And that's already back in 2013, and a few months later on he was moving on to obviously the French national team to take a victory, his first world championship victory in Costa Rica. That was in 2014, and since then he's been leading the way for Noé Gariou and for Clément Colmas here in the middle. But watch out for Thomas Lacerda on the left, number 7, and Raphaël Sirvent, who's a few months ago when I was in Alicante, in Santa Pola, in the region of Alicante in Spain, he was winning a new Spanish title in sprint. So 3 very, very strong sprinters. Clément Colmas in the middle, Raphaël Sirvent, ooh, taking a very wide angle there. Thomas Lacerda, very unlucky there. Went way, way, way too early on his board and got his fin caught in the sand. And Raphaël Sirvent, very experienced sprinter, in the lead right now. But Thomas Lacerda putting all his efforts to catch up with Clément, who's answering back by getting into the draft of Raphaël Sirvent, very experienced. Clément Colmas now in virtually second position. Thomas Lacerda, is he going to have enough steam after that big effort and that big mistake to catch up with Clément? Raphaël Sirvent doesn't ask himself that question. He's going for the win in this second heat of run number 2 in the men's. The Spanish champion from Santa Pola, Alicante, he doesn't stop, and he's been acclaimed by the Spanish team, who are very happy with this result. We want to see who's just crossed the line in second. That was really a very important thing for us to see. I think it was Clément Colmas that is actually now being official. Yes, Clément Colmas from New Caledonia crossed the line in second. He did the job. A very odd start for Clément Colmas. Probably some things to tune in on his start, but Raphaël Sirvent, a very fast runner and a very technical racer as well, has comfortably won this heat. Tomás Lacerda, unfortunately, from Madeira, Portugal, is out of the competition now. And let's look at the times. Look at Team Spain. Look at Team Spain. Laura Kedglas, Esperanza Barreras, Manuel Oyuela. Here's the man I was talking about a few minutes ago. The rock star. Without the rock star attitude, Titouan Pouillot from New Caledonia. For years, my friend Chris Parker used to call him the dark horse, but that had to stop one day because Titouan Pouillot has got now a huge experience and he's not stopping. He signed last year his best season ever at almost 30 years old. Is now past that 30-year-old mark. He scored one of his best seasons. He had a fairly easy ride on the first heat. He's against now Andreas Portenschlager from Austria, who had a fairly good and surprising first heat, and Kaylen Lockhart, his teammate from NSP. They know each other really well. And just like for Noik and Clément, Titouan acts a little bit like a big brother for Kaylen Lockhart, a young champion from Australia, but with the Belgian nationality. They're set to go. And off they are. And again, Kaylen Lockhart going on the right-hand side. Titouan Pouillot. It looks like hurdle racing right there for Titouan Pouillot, who is very much in the lead now. Wow, Andreas Portenschlager very much far back now. Those two, I know them. Whoa, that's the sort of mistake you don't want to do when you have that comfortable lead. You don't need to go rail to rail, especially with your teammates. And fortunately for Kaylen, is still in the lead. And I believe with what we've seen so far, from what I know from Andreas, it should be easy enough for Kaylen to remain in leading position, not in leading position, but in second position. But here comes a wave for Andreas Portenschlager. So the race for second position is not over yet. Andreas Portenschlager falls, and Kaylen Lockhart is currently in second position, but a lot could happen still with 100 meters to go. A lot of comments mentioning that there is a lot of running in this event. It is sometimes the case, nothing surprising there, and Kaylen Lockhart has got that big smile, which rhymes with a qualification to the semi-finals for the Belgian/Australian athletes. And unfortunately with that great drone shot, unfortunately for Andreas Portenschlager, the competition is over in the sprints anyway. Titouan Pouillot scores the best time, 1 minute 11. We saw him take those waves like hurdles on the way to those buoys and took the right one. He's got the best time, 1 minute 11 and 73 for Titouan Pouillot, the New Caledonians. And here's Ben Moham from England, who lives in the Canaries. Kimo Kersting from Germany, and the ISA 2019 world champion Claudio Nica, who dressed to impress today in Vilsana. He did have the right style and the right moves this morning in his initial heat. And I don't want to call the shot just yet, but on paper, he's definitely the favorite in this last heat of round number 2. And the 3 athletes are now being called to the line. Claudio Nica from Italy, Kimmo Kersting for Germany, and Ben Moham for Team England. Look at that starting position of Claudio Nica. He's not the fastest runner so far, decides to go against that first glide, and is already in first position. Claudio Nica creating his effort right now on his way to the right buoy. It's starboard and starboard against Indiana Paddle. I think that's the first time I see an Indiana Paddle, the Swiss brand. What a great move there. Great turn for Claudio Nica, who's in comfortable position right now. Great style, great power. He had a big brother to teach him all the ropes of SUP racing, Leo Nica, who totally impressed us with his SUP surfing all the way to the finals yesterday. And here comes Claudio with a little grin on his face as he approaches the red and white arch here in Vilsander, the finish line. And Ben Moham, the tall, dark-haired boy from England, is in second. And it's over for Kimmo Kersting, who's, I'm sure, will be happy to have made it through to the second round. And this was heat number 4 of the second round of the Open Men's. And look at, I'm actually in that one of those 4 containers here. I can't say hi, I can't wave, unfortunately. But that's our booth just behind the arch. And you can appreciate the whiteness of that sand here in Vilsander. We are going to come later on for the semi-finals, so make sure you don't go too far. I see you later.
Kan man virkelig gøre alle glade? Både sommerhusejerne og feriegæsterne? Ja, det kan man, og det gør vi hver eneste dag hos Esmark. Vi elsker at skabe de perfekte rammer for vores feriegæster på Vestkysten. Du lejer nemlig ikke kun et sommerhus hos Esmark. Du lejer en oplevelse for livet. Se, hvad vi kan gøre for dig og din ferie på esmark.dk. Esmark, professionel sommerhusudlejning uden bøvl.